Hello there. My name is Will Farrell and I'm from the Virginia Energy Initiative Council. We're here today to talk to you about Virginia's future in energy. Here you can see Virginia's energy production and its energy consumption. Its two largest energy producers are coal and nuclear energy, with natural gas and all their renewables combined being far behind. For energy consumption, it's a very different story. Natural gas is first, with more than 5 times what is consumed in the state than what is produced. Ethanol is being used more than oil in the state, which is good for the environment. However, renewable energy is very far behind in this state. The only one of any note is biofuels and a little bit of hydroelectricity, being 6% and 1% respectively. All other forms of renewable are 0% at the time when this information was gathered. Virginia spends roughly around 2,330 trillion BTUs a year on energy. That energy goes to transportation, residential, commercial, and industrial, with transportation being first, residential and commercial being behind it, industrial being a fourth. The population is about 8.5 million people, and that means 277 million BTUs per person per year. In total, they spend about $25 billion on energy, and which that makes it $3,000 per person per year. For environmental issues, Virginia isn't doing terribly good or terribly bad. On the good side, they have a lot of ethanol, even if it's not being grown in Virginia. Most of the corn and other supplements being used in it are shipped in, and then the ethanol is being produced there. There's lots of room for hydroelectric growth on the far western side of the state, and 6% of the country's biomass energy comes from Virginia's forests. Unfortunately, though, there's very little wind or solar energy in Virginia. In total, it's under 50% of the production of the state's energy, and under 10% of the energy consumed. When looking at Virginia's resources, we see that they have a lot of coal and nuclear power. So much coal, in fact, that they have to export some of it. While they're exporting coal, though, they have to import most of their natural gas and the components to produce the ethanol. On the far western side of the state, we see that there's lots of large hydraulic jumps, which is good for hydroelectrical energy on the Blue Ridge Mountains. On the south side of the state, though, there's a large untapped supply of uranium that has been found recently. This can be used for nuclear energy throughout the state and the country. Here you can see a map of Virginia's power plants. Running from the north to the south, you can see a line of natural gas power plants. These follow the natural gas pipeline that goes throughout the country. On the western side, you can see the hydroelectric plants following the Blue Ridge Mountains and the rivers. You can even see the pump storage power plant over on the Blue Ridge Mountains. When compared with the surrounding states, Virginia has a lot less solar energy plants. This is especially true when comparing it to North Carolina, which even if you can only see the top part of it, is full of power plants. At the moment, there's really only one environmental issue in the news in Virginia at the moment, and that's the Dominion Energy Corporation's natural gas pipeline compressor station. The compressor station controls the natural gas's pressure as it moves throughout the pipeline, making sure that it's at the right pressure to move the fastest throughout the country. Currently, the locals in Richmond are fighting over whether or not they want this pipeline. Locals are saying they don't want it because they're afraid of the environmental impacts on the surrounding area. Currently, there's a lot of local politics going on because people have been taken on and off the town council over the past year over this thing. With the vote coming up in the next month or two, people still don't know how it's going to go, and we can only find out afterwards. On a more general level, Virginia's environmental issues is about the same as the rest of the country. They have bad CO2 emissions at 103 million metric tons a year. As said earlier, there's few renewable resources, virtually no wind or solar. They do have hydroelectric and ethanol, but it's very little, only 15% of the total energy produced. Currently, Virginia has 8.5 million people. Using population trends provided by the University of Virginia, we can assume that the population will increase by 18% by 2038. That means by 2038 there will be 10 million people, or 1.5 million more people, that the power grid will have to accommodate. That's over 400,000 trillion BTUs of energy. The state of Virginia is already well on its way to providing this energy in a clean and environmentally safe manner. In the past year alone, the largest solar farm on the eastern seaboard has been completed. This is a 100-megawatt facility, and with their other facilities, provide 260 megawatts throughout the entire state. That alone is more than 7 times what the output of the previous year was. As for wind energy, Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind Company is working to bring wind energy to Virginia. 27 miles off Virginia Beach, they've begun their prototype of two 6-megawatt turbines. If this is economically successful and provides enough energy, we could see an entirely new energy sector in Virginia. There are 2 different energy sectors, though, that are due for some expansion: hydroelectric and nuclear. For hydroelectric, the Bath County Pump Storage Station is the most important part of the system. It's the largest pumped hydroelectric storage facility in the world. What this system does is that during peak times when energy is needed, it lets water flow from the top to the bottom, generating energy. Then, when energy is not needed at low times, it uses sheet energy to pump the water back to the top. Now, even though this system runs at a net loss, it uses energy. It provides energy at times when it is desperately needed. This system, though, shows that there's enough energy head difference in large parts of Virginia so that hydroelectric should be expanded upon. For nuclear power, as stated before, there's a large amount of uranium on the southern part of the state. If used properly in safety, this uranium can be used for more power plants to double or triple what the current ones provide. However, this would be a decade or more down the line because building power plants takes a lot of time and a lot of government regulations. And here's our proposed plan for Virginia's energy profile. You can see the current plan on the bottom, the proposed one on the top, with the percentages of each resource being consumed in relation to the total. Now, as you can note, the renewable energies aren't increasing drastically from the current one. That's not the goal of this plan. The goal of this plan is a realistic step in the right direction for Virginia's power plan. This plan is meant to be a realistic step in the right direction. None of the high carbon fossil fuels are increasing in their use. Instead, the entirety of the population change's energy consumption is being provided by the renewable resources and nuclear. Specifically, ethanol, biofuel, and nuclear are having the largest increases, with hydroelectric, solar, and wind having beginnings of their establishments. This plan is also accounting for no change in the energy being imported from other states. The main goal of this plan isn't to drastically reduce CO2 emissions in Virginia. It's to give a foothold for renewable energy sources coming into the state. Once solar and wind have proved themselves to be economically efficient and viable, more companies can come in and try working on them. With that, there will be less reliance on coal and natural gas as those are taken over by things like nuclear and hydroelectric. Most importantly, though, this is a very realistic step. It's not changing the overall power plan by much, but it's enough of a change to attract investors and companies to working on it. Thank you for listening to our presentation.